Today, I'm deeply honored to be joined by you, Quentin, which you are the head of marketing and PR for. It's Zannier you mentioned?
Zannier Hotels, yes.
Zannier.
In
Zannier.
French, we say Zannier. It's hard.
I have quite a few friends, and they say you never the last
Yes.
letter. You never pronounce it in French, Nicolina. Exactly, which is a group of award-winning properties known for the soulful design, sense of place, and meaningful guest connection. And as the founder so beautifully puts, it's that your hotels have neither trend nor strategy. What they offer is a way of living, and that is free of pretension, and which is amazing. And that philosophy resonates more than ever in a world of oversaturated with surface level marketing. So, Quentin, welcome, and I'm so glad to have you here. And before we get into the strategic side of things, I would love to start with your own story. What originally drew you into luxury hospitality, and how has your role in Zannier evolved to reflect the brand's deeper values?
Sure. Well, after I graduated in marketing, I rapidly understood that I wanted to specialize in services. So I started in the luxury hospitality a bit by chance in London, and then I joined the Accor Group for 3 years in Belgium. That's how I ended up in Belgium. And after a very nice operational time in Brussels, I got contacted by Arnaud Zannier to join the group that at the moment was not having any marketing department. And the idea was to build that with the group that was extended. At the time, they were having 4 properties and in the process of launching our first Namibian property. And this was 7 years ago. And since then, the group has doubled size. We have launched, in addition to Zannier Hotels, we have launched Zannier Private Estates, which are luxury villas to rent with hospitality services, and 2 standalone restaurants in Menorca and several other side projects. But yeah, mainly that's how I came to Zannier Hotels. I've been convinced, like you, by the philosophy, the approach, of course, the design that is very minimalistic, but also very homey, very warm, that expresses also the authenticity of every place we're in. And yeah, and that the journey continues, and that's a beautiful story.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And it sets the tone perfectly for today's conversation. Like, beyond Instagram likes, okay? A better way to drive bookings in luxury hospitality outside, even if it's outside of OTA, it's even better. So the direct
Yeah,
bookings that we all want. Let's
exactly.
face it, like while aesthetics matter and like emotional connection is what drives loyalty and long-term success. So today we will be exploring how true storytelling and brand clarity can move the needle in more meaningful ways. What are the most authentic and effective ways boutique hotels are building emotional connections with guests today? What does it look like in the genre universe?
I think the authenticity of a place or of anything comes to the emotion we have when we see it, when we live it. And I think that has been the starting point of any project we work in, is how to traduce the emotion that Arnaud Zannier got when he first arrived in Vietnam, or when he discovered a place, or when he met someone that he felt was inspiring, and how to convey that authenticity. And it always comes from landscapes, from people, and from the story who's linking all this. So the most effective way to be authentic for me is to understand what makes it emotional and what makes it beautiful. Whether it is the wow effect when you arrive to a hotel, the pace you want to give, the story you want to give to your guests. So where will you position the reception? Because in the logical process, they will discover the place when they arrive, then they will check in, and then they will go to their rooms. So the whole process in terms of master planning, for instance, is essential. But then it also goes to, okay, how then do we, this story that we create and that feels natural for us, how do we make it authentic? It's by what will you leave along the way of that journey, is then what do you expect in a place? If you're in Namibia and that you're within a savanna, in a conservation reserve, you expect to see animals. Then everything is oriented towards the views and the potentially seeing animals. If that's in Le Chalet in Megève, surrounded by the nature, then what do you expect? You expect something warm, something cozy. So then everything is towards the interiors and not the outsides. I mean, of course, also the views are beautiful, but then that will be positioning fireplaces. It's making sure that the reception looks like more a house. You're invited to someone's place. It's putting the Christmas tree at the entrance of the main living room because it's where people would gather. It's putting the bar besides it because it's where people would like to experience time there, and that would feel authentic because that's how people would naturally do it, even though we're not here and doing it ourselves and organizing this as a business. So authenticity, it's hard to describe because it's something you feel, but it's how you try to convey the story that would have existed without you, but in a way that makes it organized and where people get something out of it. And what we mean by this is emotions. This is our life's, sorry, this is our group's credo. This is bringing life's greatest memories. Memories come from emotions. And I mean, you can be greeted by the best ever and just having the most nicest dish. What will you remember is probably the emotion you got when you put that in mouth or when you were greeted because the person, I don't know, touched you in a way. And that's what we try to reach. And that's what will bring authenticity.
Amazing, and thank you for sharing. And this is my favorite topic because I specialize in emotional design, and this is where, except from user experience and customer experience, which have been exposed a lot in technology, and if we can kind of humanize technology and that balance between the human and technology, and how we can deeply connect and create soulful connections, of course, with our
Exactly.
guests. Yes. So, how do you see the role of content evolving from social media to deeper storytelling, editorial, and brand publishing? Because you are in charge of all the things, right?
Yes.
PR and
Yeah,
marketing and
I
everything.
handle
Yeah.
everything. To make it simple, I usually summarize. I handle everything that has a brand, a logo on it. So yes, both social media and content, PR. I mean, everything that is visible to the eyes of the public. Indeed, we see a bit a shift now towards what people read. People are really looking to more deeper insights and more genuine examples, real stories behind the scenes. To be fair, this was in our group's DNA since the beginning of having that approach. So we haven't necessarily changed because of the trend. It's just because it's the way we conceive the brand. So this is a good point. But we see it also that besides beautiful images, people want to have the narration, and it's not just a caption that will help. And since few months already, our captions are way longer on social media, for instance. And people say people are lazy to read it. It's false. People do read that, and we do have comments. And I think it's just the way you approach it. As long as it's not necessarily hooking the readers to read your story and just promote it. It's, I think, finding the right angle that interests them and the right platforms to do so. So I think for me at the moment it goes hand in hand because you have, and also because for me social media is of course a great platform for publicity, but it's also something where you educate future guests to also what is your brand about, or competitors, or follow trends. And this is not possible through targeted media where you would read the story of something you're already convinced because you're interested in that subject. So social media is a great way to capture a lot of people and speak about different topics to different audiences, and and for us, the content then needs to be targeted and created niche per subject. And to answer your question on the shift of content, yeah, definitely we see the shift, we embrace the shift, and we see that is also contributing to the in terms of bookings, because in the last 2-3 years, especially since COVID, social media became one of the first platform for people to get used about our brand before our website. That's the first thing. Then it was also, now people would read at the comments on socials before necessarily going to a Google or to a TripAdvisor. So the tone that you would have in handling direct conversations with the guests matter more than just a simple of a guest without necessarily the response of the brand. So I think that's what people are more looking for. And that's, we come back to authenticity. It's how do we convey these values through social media or through content without having something necessarily static. And then comes the shift of content, and I'm pretty sure you would have to mention the videos, because more and more people expect actions go to behind the scenes, and this goes way beyond one picture. It goes need to go deeper, and this goes either through longer stories, through portraits, through videos, or through a photo reportage that are not only one picture but like way more. And that's why carousels are becoming popular. That's why I guess on Instagram the stories are popular too, because you can actually tell a full story, not only a one static moment story.
Of course, all the reels and everything that's around
The
Instagram, of
reels,
course,
that's
and
the sorry, that's what I meant. The reels, yeah.
exactly, exactly. And then there is a challenge how you can put 90 seconds all the experiences that you offer of a hotel
Exactly.
to be showcased at a certain level. So that's going to connect and trigger the right emotions to the
Yeah.
user. So they will just be, they will just become
Yeah.
your future client. And that's
Exactly.
what I think um, every luxury hotel. We're talking about the unpretentious luxury hotels. These are the people that we love talking. If we have to redefine luxury, what luxury is today, and then which I've already seen as of your founder, I think he has thought about it years ago.
Yeah.
And it's happening also now from the customers that we see that in different parts of the world, which is amazing. And you covered exactly what I wanted to touch, what actually drives bookings, and we just covered that. Zannier is all the hotels and properties are visually stunning, but there is a lot of intention behind the aesthetic. So, what challenges do you face in kind of balancing brand beauty with the digital performance and measurable results? If you do performance marketing, if you do omnichannel marketing, how do you? What are the challenges that you face in balancing those?
I would not say initially that we're considering this as an issue, because we do omni-channel marketing. We have to also, because we're addressing to different types of markets that don't have the same maturity. I mean, very concretely, for instance, we would work, I mean, if we speak about socials, we would be more on Instagram in Europe, whereas we would be more on Facebook in Asia, because it's just more popular. We have more interactions with our guests, and we need to understand also the different markets, the way they work. And we have different types of clientele, different age groups, and that's also the beauty of our brand. We address to a lot of different people. This being said, brand aesthetic is part of our group DNA. It's actually was and is one of the establishment that we have for our hospitality group, and that's really also a differentiating point from many other groups. I'm not saying they're not beautiful. I'm just saying that probably they don't have an interior studio within the headquarters. And for us, this is 1/3 of our headquarters and led by our founder. Each and every item that is in the hotels are decided by our founder. Each photo is validated ahead. And this was critical for our brand. And I think that's why it became that popular, because 10 years ago, the challenge was, okay, we need to get content, whatever content, and the disparity of quality was very different. Now people understand that we're all saturated with content, so it's how do we make sure that we balance that aesthetic with the performance. The good thing is, or the tricky thing is, that we need good content, but all the algorithms ask you to publish more and more often and even more. We go against that, and we decided we prefer to publish less but good content. And it's a bit our philosophy: do less but good. It's quality and not quantity. And this is something that always guided us. And this is what is the hardest: minimalism, simplicity. It's what we stand for. And this also goes into our online presence. So we prefer to publish less and maybe be less tracked on our digital presence, to have less blog articles or do less newsletters, but that whenever we do, it's coherent with all the rest that we do. Because one of the good things that we have is the fidelity of our guests, the loyalty. I mean, they're emotional attachment to the brand is impressive. And just before we're discussing, we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of our property in Cambodia. It's 2/3 of all the employees that are still here 10 years after. In hospitality, it's very rare. And this
Very much
says
so.
something. And I, even just before you, I replied to a guest who said, I just been to Vietnam. I loved it. When is your opening date in France? Because I want to book. I want to be the first one to book. The hotel is opening in 11 months. So I think this says something. And this goes beyond just looking at metrics. So of course we're looking at it because we're a company. We need to make profit, also develop and to create good things. But at the same time, we need to find that balance between making sure we have a continuity in everything we do, and whatever we do it right.
And that reflects on the quality of the content that has been put out there, the quality of the content that it's
Yeah.
on your website, and there is a harmony. I always speak about harmony in a sense of content, in a sense of energy of people, because for us, and that's why I love, even if I work in technology, even with different fields, I love hospitality. It's because it's like you're opening your home, no matter in which level, opening your home to others. So you want these people to feel exactly the same. So now we have AI, the other side of what AI doesn't have, which I always say, it's emotions. So with AI becoming more common in marketing and guest communications, like the best practices of AI, which I think these are going to be the companies that they will be using technology in the safe way, and they will be going forward. How do you see its role in brand like your brand, Zannier, which is so rooted in emotion and authenticity? Do you use any tools?
We do, because I mean we live with our time and we have to. Otherwise, you're just outsiders. We have made bold decisions, and I mean not bold, but reflected decisions. Um, for instance, we do not have rooms that can be opened by a card, which is something very common in all hotels now in the city. You come and you have like a digital card that looks like a business card, and that open your door, that controls your lights, and that's very handy, right? This is a very simple example of what technology can bring, and that is well democratized. We voluntarily made a decision not to have this. Why? Because our storytelling is you come home, you need keys in your hand, that you open yourself the door, that you educate your guests to switch off the light, to handle themselves, and have something that they will relate to. And how would you explain that you're building a very beautiful house inspired from traditional Vietnamese architecture, and then you have all that technology that would have nothing to go with this story? I have another example that comes to my mind: a bathtub in. So we wanted to have, and we have a bathtub, a beautiful bathtub in this lodge at Zannier Hotels in the middle of the desert. The story is, you should feel like you feel, because it's by default, you feel that you're an explorer in the middle of the desert, because you're 3 hours away from the first city with beautiful landscapes. And the bathtub, usually you would have put something around the bathtub so to avoid putting water everywhere. Would you put just how to say this curtain to avoid water to go away? Not really, because that would change completely the experience. And this is just a normal, simple technology. So when we go to technology and AI, of course we have to use it. All the assistants to generate content and this, we use that. But I think, and that's I think the trick now, that all machines needs to be are led by humans, right? So you need to see where you want to put your boundary and what is important for you. For us, creating content is important, but again, quality is important too. So we have a proofreading exercise behind it. So yes, we will embrace automatically generating content, but no, we refuse to have chatbots because it's not our identity. And I would totally understand that a standardized group like Accor, if we speak about them again, like an IBIS, would have an automated chatbot or people helping for a 24/7 reservation system, which we prefer not to have at that stage because that doesn't fit with the DNA. And I think that's, for me, the clever way to approach AI, and thinking, we all know it will change our lives. It's already changing. Technology is coming. And let's ponderate and see project per project where it's going. And we have the beauty of having a non-standardized group. I mean, our SOPs procedures are standardized because we're 5 stars and the standards are established. But every project is different, and we start again from a blank page. And that's the beauty of it. So we can decide not having a TV in the desert, but having a TV when you're in our other properties, because that makes sense, because the story or the experience our guest needs to have will be different. And for us, I will revolutionize the world, but hospitality will need anyway humans, because we're a people's business and we're not a machine's business.
Exactly. And anything that has to do with emotional design and human-centered design, which comes again to the CX, the customer experience, and it's a people's business. Hotels is people to people. There are some tools in the back side, like you can use them, so but not directly with your guests to help the whole team, of course.
Exactly. But I mean, there are many tools, and we're doing. I forgot to mention probably the first one. We developed an app that will help our guests who want to order way more easily the minibar, and this will be automatically built to the room charge. In terms of, I think AI in hospitality will be very helpful in everything that is admin related.
Exactly.
Everything that is not visible to the guest, definitely. And how to automatize in terms of data collection, protection, invoicing, upselling. I mean, all this for sure. And it's already in place, and definitely it helps. But everything that is guest facing is harder, because then how do you control the quality? And that and it's easier, and how do you pass the emotion? And that's always to that point that we come back to, yeah,
Of course,
it's
and
full
people
time. That's
a critical
switch.
time, but I think you're on the right side. You know, it's like we've been using AI the last 10 years, even if nowadays people are, has come to a place where people is massively adopted and people can start using it. So they think they've discovered something. But I think the balance in life, in everything, and I love the philosophy and what you have behind you, because I'm in spirituality as well. And I think
It's funny you
it's the only
mentioned the
way.
word. It's mentioned in the word balance, and I'm sure you will have the discussion with Arnaud. It's the foundation of our new wellness approach, and even the group approach could be summarized by everything is a question of balance.
Of course.
What We're in a world where we never have time to step back to look at it, and we're always running. I was reading an article on running, and that we're running all the time behind whatever. Finding the balance is probably the best luxury, because it's managing to have time, managing to balance technology vs reading and opening a book, as balancing private and professional life where there is no boundaries anymore, and everything is a question of balance. And you're right, you said the right word, I think. And like adopting a new system here, AI, but in general, everything is okay. Where do you put your cursor, and what is the balance you want to have? Because yeah, many people would adopt and just do AI all, and that would suit, because that's the story behind. For us, this is a bit different, but I think it's, as long as you're comfortable in the statements that you took, then there is no issue, and you're coherent. And that's how, for me, you would, yeah, the coherence is something very important, because otherwise you're not authentic anymore, and it doesn't come from the heart.
Of course, and balance is the new luxury. We say they used to say time, they used to say other things, but balance in a world that is heavily around technology, and people are not able to consume all this amount of technology, even if it's social media. Personally, I used to teach also here in Australia, social media and how people, our human brains, are not made to absorb all this information.
Exactly.
So we overload ourselves and then we go out of balance. So, and it's a great way for this kind of spaces, soulful experiences like the places that you have in your universe, to for people to reconnect, for
Exactly.
people to come back to themselves, which is a great way to be. And you always respect the environment that you build or you develop your properties, which is what makes a difference.
That's right.
Of course. Thank you so much for your time, Quentin. It's been like such a
With
thoughtful
pleasure.
conversation, and I truly appreciate your time and your perspective.
Thanks for the time.